I don't care. Take it how you want to take it. But I am currently 14 weeks pregnant. And when my child gets older, I will not be raising my child for them to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. No, because who are you? Why do I have to tell you, yes, ma'am? Where's the respect? Respect goes both ways. Now, if I call you and I say, hey, come here, I need you to say yes, but you don't have to say yes, ma'am. Like, what type of pedestal? I'm not better than you. I'm not. And then people be like, oh, it's having respect. I can still respect you and not say yes, ma'am. What's the point?
This is why children should not be parents. This is why men are needed and fathers are needed, husbands are needed before you have a child. She's going to raise the next generation right here. Going to raise the next generation of disrespectful young men and women. Her and all the other chicks who think like her. And the men who don't understand this is a problem as well.
Like, I understand if I call you, if I say, hey, come here, or hey, and you say, what? Yeah, no, we're not doing that. What? You can say, huh? You can say yes, but you don't have to say yes, ma'am. You don't say yes, ma'am. Don't say it. Because my mother didn't raise me to say yes, ma'am, no, sir. Like, who are you?
So now you are 14 weeks pregnant, no ring on your finger, and ready to be a single mom and continue this cycle. Sounds about right.
And it's crazy because they be like, oh, respect your elders. Do the elders respect us? They be the
And for you who are like, oh, Chisha, she does have a ring. It's on the wrong hand. It's on the wrong hand.
quickest one to judge our generation, the quickest one to degrade us and disrespect us, but want us to say, yes, ma'am. You're crazy. My child will say yes. They will greet you appropriately, but they're not going to say, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. My child will not be saying yes, ma'am, and yes, sir to you.
Let's read a few of these comments. Top comment says, y'all be having marbles for brains. Somebody else here says, I'm worried for us as a society. Yeah, you should be. But at this point, like, there are societal things to worry about. If you're a man today and you have the responsibility, and you're a wife today, you have responsibility of children, you can worry about your four walls and do your best to govern that area of your life the best that you possibly can. Somebody else here added, the lights are on, but I don't think nobody's home. I'm glad people here aren't co-signing this. There's a growing number of people who are actually sharing the same sentiment. A lot of them are young women, single mothers, and they're actually not just saying that this is unnecessary, but they're actually calling it abuse. Check it out.
There's always something new to learn. Today, I learned that some of the younger generation views saying yes, sir, or yes, ma'am as abuse. Now, let me correct that, as a sign of abuse or that someone is being abused. I'm Gen X, and for my family and for some in my generation, it's viewed as a sign of respect.
So she has comments there. It says, if you had the choice, would you have called your parents mom/dad or sir/ma'am? I get it's supposed to be respectful. I grew up that way, but it was also unnecessary and extremely forced on us sometimes.
More often than not, it was used in the context of, let's say you call your child, and let's say your child's name is Jerome, and you say Jerome, and Jerome says, what? Most of the times, yes, they would say, when you respond to me, you say, yes, ma'am. And that doesn't mean that it's a red flag or that Jerome is being abused. It means, hey, Jerome, that's not how you talk to me. So I find these ideals really interesting, that if you hear a child responding to their parent as yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, that child is being abused or mistreated in some kind of way. And where is this coming from? How did we get to a place where that's the situation?
I think we got there by listening to young people a bit too much because they're not developed enough to understand the nuances of life yet. And no, I'm not talking about not listening to kids if they're being treated badly and making sure they have an open space to talk. No, I'm talking about allowing them into adult conversations that they should stay out of. I do believe that there needs to be an element of that. And yes, those two things can exist. A child can say, hey, there's certain things that I can't do. You know, I can't just say what to my mom, talk to other grown adults that way. And you have to teach them that there's a way life works. And you will be treated better because of it. Because that same bad attitude and very defiant disposition will keep you from achieving things that you believe that you deserve in this life. What do I mean by that? You go out here and raise up these young people as modern parents or a single mother or maybe even a single father, which is less likely, who may not understand this. You go out here and raise these kids who are highly entitled, highly disrespectful, and they'll go everywhere and wonder, why does no one like me? Why am I not likable? They don't understand that you have to be likable, that respect is earned, that people don't want to be around people who aren't respectful. And then they turn into perpetual victims for the rest of their lives, thinking the world owes them things and they don't have to carry themselves a particular type of way.
And also, I'm assuming he means by authority on this one that they're not the police. So why would you be saying yes, ma'am, or yes, sir to them? They're not authority in
This is
that
crazy.
sense of the word. But for me, my parents are authority. That doesn't mean that they didn't allow me to make decisions or voice my opinion or do anything like that, because my mother actually did. My father was deceased. And I still said yes, ma'am. Now I have a sister. My oldest sister is 79. And I still say yes, ma'am, to her. She doesn't force me to do it. She doesn't abuse me. In fact, she's never even spanked me. So, yeah. Is saying yes, ma'am, yes, sir, or no, ma'am, no, sir, just using ma'am and sir, a sign of abuse? Is it a sign of respect, or is it something people say just because they're forced to say it?
Thank you to this wonderful, intelligent lady. I disagree with anyone who calls that abuse. I think it's insane.
I don't care. Take it how you want to take it. But I am currently 14 weeks pregnant. And when my child gets older, I will not be raising my child for them to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. No, because who are you?
I mean, of all the things to be upset about, that's what you pick. I mean, you a single mother. Priorities be all in the black community, bro. CIA one, FBI one. But if you go to her comments and you look at all the women in there that, have something to say about it, there's a direct correlation between what they look like, how they're living, and their agreements upon that statement there. Now, I do think it's a, Southern versus Northern thing. I do think down South, that's just like the standard. But what is Black people's issue with just structure, authority, just, what I'm saying, like respect? Like, what is this fake rebellious spirit against, like, just wanting to be against the grain? Because I do notice, like, of course, it doesn't automatically mean your kids are going to be good and that respect people just because they say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever. But it's like, y'all don't want kids to say yes, sir, no, sir, whatever. Y'all don't want y'all kids to, y'all be letting y'all kids call people by their first name. And it's just like, there's a correlation between like setting boundaries and like that clear, defining separation between adult and child. I feel like y'all parents told y'all stay in a child place and y'all took that shit to heart. And like now y'all just rebel against that statement. But you can't sit here and say that there's no correlation between y'all not putting a separation between y'all's children and adults and y'all being buddy pals with y'all kids and how these kids go out and act around other adults and authoritative figures.
I agree with that. It's really uncomfortable, man, because it really stands out. It really stands out when there's a disrespectful kid who just doesn't know, because the nuances are very, very small sometimes. Could be something very, very small. It could be the way you hand something to an adult. And maybe this was because I was raised up also in an African home. But you can't just go, I couldn't just go to my dad and just like toss something at him for him to catch. That in itself would equal a stern rebuke. And if I don't hear the rebuke followed by something that could be worse, right? Like the disrespect of the, and just the way you hand something off, or the responses, like there's the little things. They're little things. And when you see it happening, I don't get how you could see that that's your kid being disrespectful and you just think, whatever.
Doesn't mean like kids that do say or respect that boundary between adults and children are automatically angel children. But when I was growing up, there were things that I just didn't do around grown people, like my grandparents. There were things I didn't do, didn't say. There was a level of respect for them, or just elders or adults, period. We would do our shit where, you know what I'm saying, where the kids was at, you know what I'm saying? And then y'all get on here all the time and talk about the difference between like people kids and our kids. But y'all, like, they be the ones where they kids walk around, yeah, okay, sure. Well, you know what I'm saying? And then like 9 times out of 10, it's usually reflective somewhere on how that child behaves to their parents, authority figures, and around that house.
I think regardless of, because you're talking about other race kids there, white kids, I think this issue transcends race. A lot of kids today, regardless of race, are just a little bit more disrespectful towards adults.
Like, she ain't talking about how she gonna, try to, teach her child to be literate, how to read, proper grammar, math. She worried about her kid, teaching her kid how to say yes, sir, and how not to say yes, sir, no, sir.
In fact, I'll even go a step further and say, like, if I look at the white kids, the white friends I've had in my life, they're the most disrespectful of their parents, actually. Shut up, mom. Top comment here says it's called manners. Here's somebody else who says, I call kids sir and ma'am. Here's somebody else who says, then complain that they don't have a village. That's a fact. How could you have a village of people who are ready to be disrespected at every moment of directing somebody or helping somebody out? Somebody else who says, when did being polite become a bad thing? Listen, as always, I appreciate you guys checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.